Hello, bravs. We're back with a new book. This is Anyone's Son, a True Story by Roberta Roche with Harry de la Roche Jr. I was going to start this book, but it's doubtful I can finish it all. So after I finish this one, which is a true crime story that happened on a Thanksgiving weekend, which is why I'm reading it. Let's read the inside of the jacket, as this is just the intro. Anyone's Son, the Harry de la Roche family was, seemingly, the perfect family next door. They were civic-minded churchgoers and seemed to most of their neighbors to be a warm and loving family. Pictures of Harry Jr. and the younger brothers Ronnie and Eric playing ball in scout uniforms beside the Christmas tree could have been taken from our own family albums. Yet, on a Thanksgiving weekend, the entire family was murdered except for Harry Jr., who was eventually convicted for 4 first-degree murders and sentenced to life in prison. What went wrong with this family? In this unprecedented first-person account by a young man of the murder of his family, readers will track the deadly symptoms of a family life gone wildly awry. Was it Harry Sr.'s own insecurity and insistence on strong discipline, or his penchant for guns and teaching his boys riflery? Or his wife, Mary Jane's diffidence to his authority? Or was it Harry Jr.'s ungainliness and the cruel teasing of his classmates? Or the vicious hazing at the Citadel that drove him to the brink? Harry de la Roche tells his story of a troubled teenager with heartbreaking conflicts. The power and drama of his story lie in the common experiences that his family shared with thousands of others, blessedly untouched by violence. This is a horrifying story of brutal murder, but it is also an extraordinary inside picture of murder's aftermath, bungles and delay, the loss of key evidence, controversial defense tactics, and crucial psychiatric testimony. Based on hundreds of hours of in-depth jail interviews, substantiated by heavy research and documentation, this is the only book that offers a first-hand account of the De La Roche tragedy, a powerful portrayal of an unforgettable character whom everyone knows from somewhere and whom some will find uncomfortably close to home. We'll take a look at the jacket or the boards, soiled with the image of the shooter. Nice blood red board. Andrews and McMeel Inc., Kansas City. Nothing else there. Anyone's Son's, copyright 1979. I'm sure something else has been written by now. I haven't done any research into this, as is to be expected with my shoddy operation here. Copyright 1970. It looks to be in 14 chapters, plus a preface and an epilogue. And we will get to the preface here, which isn't very long. On a gray November Sunday in 1976, I was writing complacently at my desk when my husband came to my office and said, "I just heard on the radio that a family has been murdered in Montvale." Since Montvale is only a stone's throw from my home, that statement affected my life. Soon as I read newspaper reports and watched TV accounts, I knew as a journalist and parent that I had to get behind the scenes and try to understand what happened to the De La Roche family and their young son, Harry Jr. I had to find the answers as completely as I could to such timeless but timely questions as, why do families go awry? What causes intra-family breakdowns? How did this human tragedy start? And where is it going to end? Most of us say and really believe these things can't happen here, but unfortunately figures are rising on homicides among families, and the problem is more widespread than we care to believe. To cite a few examples, in Louisiana, 2 teenagers were accused of killing their father, stepmother, half-brother, and half-sister. In Kansas, a 15-year-old boy was charged with killing his parents and younger brother. In New Jersey, Another 15-year-old killed his parents with an axe. On Long Island, a 23-year-old systematically shot his mother, father, and 4 brothers and sisters in their backs with a rifle. And in Texas, a model 16-year-old and a member of the Texas Girls Choir knifed her mother to death. In Montvale, the human disaster happened to the kind of people who might have been the family next door, facing the crisis and problems millions of families face. And given the same situation, Harry Jr., the sole survivor, could have been the son of any of us, except for the grace of God. As a first-hand narrative account rather than a psychological or sociological study, much of this book is written from Harry Jr.'s viewpoint. Other sections are documented by a wide cross-section of people who knew Harry Jr. and his family. Every fact at every event has been verified by more than one person. In order to get the full story of this human tragedy, I've drawn on my direct involvement and personal observations, plus an exclusive agreement with Harry De La Roche Jr., permitting me to be the only book author to talk with him in prison. I have obtained his personal story through hundreds of hours of interviews. During part of the time the jury was out deciding on its verdict, I was allowed to sit with him in his suicide watch cell. In addition to hundreds of hours of jail interviews, I also spent a great deal of time researching private family papers and letters, unpublished and confidential files, lawyers' briefs, police records, and official documents, court and judicial proceedings and trial transcripts. I attended the trial from start to finish and drew from my own notes on that. And to gain objective insights, I made every possible effort to talk to individuals on every side of this case. Those interviews included extensive and in-depth sessions with relatives, family, friends, and acquaintances, neighbors, peers, and classmates, teachers, clergymen, lawyers, jury members, law enforcement officers, the Bergen County medical examiner, and other physicians involved with the case, jail and prison inmates who associated with Harry Jr., and staff members and students at the Citadel. In scattered instances, a few individuals would not comment on the court case while an appeal was pending. In other situations, persons who knew the De La Roches were reluctant to discuss the family because the topic had become controversial in the town where the family lived. Occasionally, people requested anonymity or fictitious names. Except for those few instances, literally hundreds of people reached out to give me help, so that now that my work is finished, it'd be an impossible task to name each one of them here. For their special help along the way and at every step of the way, I say thank you to them all. Roberta Roche, Westwood, New Jersey, December 1978. We are parents, we are children, and we're living here together. But the way we treat each other is bizarre. We must learn to see each other with the eyes of understanding as the hungry, needing people that we are. Love them now. Don't wait till they've gone away. Love them now while they're around. Touch them, hold them, laugh and cry with them. Show them, tell them, don't deny with them. Love them now before they're just a guilty memory. Love them now. Love them now. Richard K. Avery and Donald S. Marsh from the Avery and Marsh, Jesus Christ, songbook. And we will begin chapter 1 after we get a little about the author segment. Roberta Roesch, a newspaper columnist and magazine writer, is also the author of 5 previous books. Jobs for Weekends, There's Always a Right Job for Every Woman, Women in Action, Many Jobs, and Futures and World's Fairs. Her magazine credits include blah, blah, I'm not reading that. She's a former magazine editor and has appeared on both national and local radio and television. Member of the American Society of Journalists and Authors, she lectures for various groups and teachers writing at Bergen Community College in New York. She and her husband, Philip, are the parents of 3 grown children. Let's see what the critics say about the book. Anyone's son could be anyone's son, and that's the horror of it. For this is a true and chilling story of a recent crime by an 18-year-old boy from a good family, when goodness in this instance turns out to be no more than a mask for psychosis, the reader feels the pity and terror of the intense identification of thinking it could happen to my family. Flora Rita Schreiber, author of Sybil and professor of English, a book which I am going to read on here eventually, a poignant contemporary tragedy with seeds of classic Greek drama, an important contribution to crime literature. Jack Harrison Pollock, author of Dr. Sam, An American Tragedy, and Earl Warren, The Judge Who Changed America. I think I have this book. Dr. Sam, do I? Dr. Sam, where are you, buddy? Maybe I don't. I know I have a Sam Shepard book, but maybe it's not the same one. For all Americans who are concerned with what makes families succeed or fail today, Anyone's Son is important reading. Roberta Roche is fascinatingly detailed. True report of a nice young man who was convicted of murdering one fine morning his parents and brothers explores the personal dynamics of family life in all their dark as well as bright emotional and all their dark as well as bright aspects. This is more than the intimate story of a crime and a trial. It is a story of an emotional underworld that families seldom realize exists. Norman Lobson's co-author of No Fault Marriage and blah, blah, blah. Very sensitively written, engrossing narrative. Certainly a timely book. Francis E. Ruffin, Associate Editor. Red Book. Harry De La Roche Sr. with Harry De La Roche Jr. Pretty sad, buddy. All right. Next video will be chapter 1. As per usual. Goodbye, bruv.